I don't want to keep talking about Chris Cuomo. He's supposed to be going gonzo, son. But he's lingering. And this story may be the funniest story of all the stories over the past week or two. Take a look. This is from New York Post. Fired CNN host Chris Cuomo is set to sue the network if it balks at paying him at least $18 million to cover what's left on his contract, sources told the Post on Monday. Cuomo, 51 years old, has hired lawyers and is preparing to file the lawsuit over the remainder of the 4-year contract he signed last year after a bitter back and forth about what the network knew of his secret efforts to aid his embattled brother, then Governor Andrew Cuomo, said sources familiar with the matter. His contract was reportedly worth $6 million annually. That's what he was getting paid, leaving between $18 million and $20 million that he would be owed, sources said, adding that Chris Cuomo would also likely seek damages. Damages! That's glorious. But CNN has no intention of paying Chris Cuomo a penny, as an insider said. If he gets a settlement, there would be uproar, the source added. Another source said CNN has a standard morality clause in their contract that says if the employee does anything of disrepute, they can be immediately fired. There's a few things to say about this. First of all, look, those contracts, I'm sure, are airtight with CNN. You don't have a big organization like CNN that doesn't cover their own ass first and foremost, and I'm sure that's exactly what happened here with Chris Cuomo. The damages point is the funniest to me. I need to seek damages because this is unfair what happened to me. Dog, you're a hack. I don't know if you know this, but you had on your brother on the show all the time to do rank propaganda for him as he was doing one of the worst jobs as governor in the country. And that is not hyperbole. This is a guy who was writing a book about how he defeated COVID and how he's a hero and getting millions of dollars in a book advance for it. At the same time, he was shuffling old people, COVID positive, back into nursing homes, which then in turn led to countless deaths. And then in turn, he covered up a lot of those deaths and lowered the numbers on it. And don't even get me started on the other scandals, which existed before he even went on the CNN show and got these fluff pieces. The scandal, for example, of corruption. He set up an anti-corruption committee. That committee eventually turned their guns on Andrew Cuomo because he was being corrupt, and then he disbanded the committee as soon as they started looking into him and his buddies. One of his top aides went down for corruption. There was the bridge scandal where he used the wrong supplies on this bridge that was named after his father and then tried to cover it up, even though it would have been a health issue, safety issue. I mean, the number of scandals is staggering. And he would go on CNN, and him and Chris Cuomo would play around and giggle about mom's spaghetti and Sunday dinners and hold giant Q-tips for no reasons and for no reason. And he would, portray him as America's best governor. He literally said on air something to that effect, like, I think you're the best governor in America. And then the second the shit hit the fan, all of a sudden Chris Cuomo's like, look, I got to be objective. I can't talk about my brother. You had to be objective before you gave him the fluff jobs, you dick. So the reason why you got to go is because you're not a reporter. You're supposed to be a reporter. You're supposed to be a journalist. You got to go. Now, the only argument I'm sympathetic to is that, yeah, but like Brian Stelter's not a reporter either, and he's still on the air. Right, well, get him off the air too. To me, this isn't a free speech issue. If you're hired to be a journalist or a reporter, you have to be a journalist or a reporter. They should fire every fucking so-called journalist or reporter at Fox News because they're all gigantic hacks, and they all suck at their fucking job. So, I don't just have guns out for Chris Cuomo specifically. I fire all of them. But fact of the matter is, he's got to go. And he's talking about damages. CNN, in their own mind, had a modicum of credibility, and then you just shit all over that. And so if anything, they could sue your ass for damages to say, look, we were viewed as like a legitimate news source, and then now you made it so that we had to, violate all of our, journalistic integrity. They didn't actually have it, but in their own mind they did. So in their mind, they could claim he's the one who sort of dragged them through the mud because they stuck with him originally. When everybody learned that Chris Cuomo was helping Andrew Cuomo during the scandal of all the Me Too stuff and the sexual harassment allegations against him. And then what happened is we learned that he was more intimately involved and he was using his sources to try to dig up dirt and do oppo research on the women who were accusing Andrew Cuomo. And as soon as CNN learned that, they were like, okay, we got to indefinitely suspend him. Then they finally let him go and fired him when they realized there was a Me Too allegation against Chris Cuomo as well. So they were like, okay, look, just too much of a headache. We got to let it go. But Chris Cuomo is saying, I'm going to sue CNN for damages. On what planet? You got $6 million a year from them. You ain't worth $6 million a year. Dog, you're not worth $600 a year. By the way, let's go, baby. Sink or swim. You want to see how good you are in this media space? Hop into the new media world. Look, you can cultivate your own audience. You can be totally independent. Go ahead, hop onto YouTube or Substack or start a podcast or whatever. Pick any platform you like. Twitch, but try it. Let's see how it goes. It goes back to the same thing. I always used to beat up on Wolf Blitzer. Not on purpose, but he's a good example of this. Guys, there's a system that filters and props up the safe voices for the narrative. That's how CNN functions. And so there's a reason why Wolf Blitzer is on air 714 hours a day, because he's not going to rock the boat. He's not going to say anything that advertisers in the establishment don't want to hear. And so he's propped up there. Now I submit to you, if Wolf Blitzer launched a YouTube channel, how would he do? In the sink or swim environment, how would he do? Actually, you know what? I think I need to adjust my argument here, because the fact of the matter is the way the YouTube algorithm works, he'd get propped up. They'd prop him up, and he'd find a way to get like 1 million subscribers, because in the past, when it was a more fair, merit-based algorithm, he would have had like 7 subscribers and nobody would have listened to a goddamn word he said. But now the way it works, where they prop up authoritative sources, YouTube would probably do a special deal with him and pay him a salary and get him to 1 million subscribers within a year. So maybe I have to adjust my argument now. But yeah, I mean, there's still space in the media world, but you got to do it on your own. Instead, he's begging for a handout, $6 million a year for not doing Dickie McGee's acts and doing a horrible job on air at CNN. Damages. $18 million in damages. The only reason you were even on air to begin with is nepotism. Your dad was governor of New York, Mario Cuomo. Andrew, your brother was governor of New York. And you're male Meghan McCain, Chris. That's the only reason why you're on air in the first place. And this guy acts entitled. I earned my way on air to do a shitty job the entire time I was there. By the way, he got the best ratings at CNN, which says, what about CNN? It's abysmal and pathetic. This meathead got the best ratings on CNN. Oh, God. By the way, Don Lemon hasn't said a word since Chris Cuomo. He would call him, this is my brother, and they would have this banter on air every night. And now Don Lemon, he's gone. I mean, that's the cutthroat, dumbass world that these guys live in. $18 million in damages. Look, I'm no fan of CNN. I despise CNN, but you gotta side with them on this one. Damages. Fuck out of here. Chris Cuomo. Hold the L, dog. Hold the L. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.